How's it going today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be relocating the gas lid and the gas gauge off a Harley Davidson. I believe this was a Road King that had the gauge in there and whatnot. I'm not 100% sure which this one. I think it was a Road King. And then the customer ordered this new tank, but it didn't have the provisions for the filler. It had the pump and the filler neck right here. So we're going to show you some tips and tricks on how to relocate these to the new fill cell. And if you guys find this video informational, you learn anything like that, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Comment down below if there's anything that you think I can add in or any extra tips to help somebody else out. That's what we're here to do, is help people learn and finish their own projects. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let's get started. So first things first, when we first get started with this, we can tell that this had been in a crash. Obviously, that's why we're fixing this tank and taking the stuff over from this one to this one. The big thing is we're gonna cut this out and then we'll try to straighten some of this metal and get it back looking good. But before we relocate or cut any of these things out, we want to kind of make a mental note or write down where these are located at. So I went through and I took my calipers. You can take a tape measure, whatever works best for you. And I had measured from the inside of this flange, put that over there so it's a stationary object, right to the edge of that flange there. And we were right at 1.5 inches. And that'll be the same for both sides because we want them looking identical on both sides. So we know we need to bring the caps over there. That's pretty much it there. And if you look down the side, right here, there's these little 2 tabs. If you look right down with them, those 2 holes line straight directly in the middle of those 2 tabs. So those are good mental notes. So when we cut these out, we can move them over to here. And just one more little tip before we get started here on locating these. If you want to, you can take some tape and actually start taping off all your edges and use a razor blade to cut around it and make almost a stencil. And then you can pull that tape off and then you can bring it straight over to this one and put that stencil back on there. And you're gonna know right where these need to land. So I may use that as well just to help get us where we're landing, and then I'll use the measurements as well to get us almost spot on. But this is definitely a nice little trick that can get you dialed in for the new install. So we've got everything cut out of here. We've got our gas filler neck and our gauge guy. So on the gauge one, I decided to abandon the idea with the hole saw. The way, as far as it was dented in, it was starting to chew up the inside of the hole, which I didn't want because it has these little nubs right there that actually hold the gas gauge in. And we didn't want to damage that, so I ended up just cutting it out, taking the cutoff wheel and just cleaning this up as good as I can, getting it prepped up and ready to weld. So that is what we're looking like now. So from this point, now that we've got these ready to go, we're ready to move over to the new tank. So like I said, we're gonna take our little stencil, we're gonna put it on here, make all our marks, make sure we're just good and dang center. I have got a hole saw that fits right in the center of this. So it's actually just a hair smaller than this. So if you grab a hole saw that's the same size as this, if it wobbles any sort of bit, it's gonna make it too big of a hole for this. So I actually like one that goes on the inside of the lip there. And then what I'll do, as it wobbles out, and honestly, it should fit right in. But if it doesn't, then I'll just take my little die grinder and I'll open that hole up just enough, because I want this to be a real nice tight fit. The tighter the fit, the better the weld. And as far as that goes, once you weld it, you probably end up not gonna have any leaks. So that is gonna be our goal for that. Same with this side, we'll mark it out. This is just a hair bigger than the little gas one. That one actually fits inside. So we're gonna go a hair bigger on that one. Drill a hole in the bottom side for that. I left just a little bit of an edge where that one originally was. So as it goes down, I knocked this top edge down a little bit. So in order for it to stick up a little bit higher, I want this little thing to kind of, see if I can show you. Right there will ride on the inside of the tank, which will just raise it up a little bit higher. Then it'll give me something to weld to, a little more meat to weld to. So that is the next step. When we are drilling these holes, protect the paint, protect everything else. This tank is still going to be painted when we're done, but we just want to tape it all up as we're drilling so it doesn't walk and create the more work for the painter when he's got to go do his thing. We want to keep it as simple as possible, so he's got to do minor body work and paint work. So always keep in mind for that guy. He'll be happy if you do. So we've got her fitting pretty dang well. Nice and flush. Just how we like it. That's going to be a nice weld. So what I'll do is I'll start by attacking here, attacking the corners. Right here is just a little bit of a lip up on the edge there. So after I attack the corners, I'll take my angle grinder and I'll just smooth that out so it's nice and smooth when we go ahead and actually start welding this thing out. This side fits really nice as well. It drops right down inside there. This one will be a little bit harder to do to get it level. What I'll do is either reach my hand inside here or maybe grab a magnet and try to level that thing out. But she is fitting well. So we are pretty much ready to start welding. I'm gonna get the welder set up and all that good stuff, and I'll kind of do some tacks, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna weld this out to try to make sure we don't get any heat warpage, but also don't have any pinholes or no leaks. So we are all tacked in. She is nice and flush. Can't feel it going either way. So that's what you want to do. You want to drag your finger across it. You want them to be just dead flush. If there's any high spots, low spots, hammer them out. Do whatever you need to do to get just these things nice and level. So I've got them done on both sides. Everything is feeling great. So how we're going to do this is we're not going to just go and weld this whole thing out. We're going to get a lot of warpage and heat in the metal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by tacking, and I'm going to tack. I'll do all four corners again, and then we're going to let it cool down. But then when I go back to do my next tack, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go next to it, and then I'm going to, as I start to burn into it, I'm going to whip my little tack into the old one. And then I'm going to go next to it, whip my tack into the old one, and I'll come over here and do the same. So we'll start, and you'll put them side by side, and then you're just going to bring the puddle over into the tack, if that makes any sense. What that's going to do is it's going to start the burn and then bring the burn back over into the old tack, and that is going to bridge it so then there is no pinholes, any leaks, anything like that. It's almost like normal welding it, how you're going to do this here, but you're just going to do it in tack so then we don't get too hot with this. I did another video on sheet metal and how to fill it and all that good stuff, so if you want to learn more about sheet metal work, definitely go check out that video. This is a little hair different just because this one needs to be liquid tight. So Same concept though. So I'm gonna throw it back on time lapse, get these welded up, and see the final product. There you go, she is all welded up. Everything turned out good. She's still a little warm, I can touch her though. And doesn't look like we got any warpage. Got all of them all the way around. So what I'm gonna do now is just let this cool down, and then we'll take our little angle grinder and just go back and smooth this top back out. After we're done with that, another way to find pinholes or anything like that is to stick a flashlight up inside there and check that all out if you can. And if there's any pinholes, go back and fill them in, grind them back out. Another thing you can do is put some water in it. Don't worry, this one, now that we're doing all our welding, before it goes to paint, it's gonna go back over to the motorcycle shop, the guys that are paying me to do this, and they are actually gonna put a fuel tank liner in this, some sort of shake-in type of stuff that lines it all out. So he said as well that liner covers up quite a bit. So if you have one minor little pinhole, sometimes that'll fill it up. So we don't want to rely on that. We're still going to make sure we have no pinholes. But if there is one, sometimes that'll take care of it. So that is a big note there. After they're done lining it, it'll go over to Lane's over at Cowboys Customs. And he is going to finish, just refinish, you know, getting all the mud taken care of and get this thing back into black. Looking good. So I will throw it back on time lapse, do a little more grinding. We'll show you guys the final product. That is it. She is all ground down, cleaned up, took a little burr bit, got all that good stuff in there. She is looking fresh and ready to go. I am excited with that. It turned out nice. So now next step is to get it back over to the customer, let them do their thing with it, and get it off over to Lane to get body worked and painted. If I get a chance, I will try to go back after it's all finished and get some little video of it all finished up so people can see the finished product, but just depends on where it's at and when it's at, if we can actually do that. So yeah, hope you guys like what you see. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell me, like I said, get down in those comments and tell me if there's anything that I could have done better, tips and tricks for other people, or maybe the way that you would have done it, you know, because when it comes to metal like this, there's plenty of ways to do it. This was just the way that I was going to attack it, and I think it turned out all right. So if you guys got a way, and or, you know, let us know down in the comments. The reality is the best way to do it is buy the tank that you need for it. Just get the tank that fits on the bike and not have to do all this extra work. I'm not sure exactly why we're doing it this way, but we are. That's what the customer asked for, and that's what I'm here to do, is give them what they want. So anyway, that's the end of it. See y'all later.